Hello and welcome to another update video about Bitcoin. As we usually do it, we want to start with the daily chart. So I want to take a look at the daily chart first for Bitcoin. You can see that overall here on the daily, the perspective hasn't changed, but where something or an interesting development comes into place, well, that's the smaller time frame that we're going to take a look at as well. But for anybody who's new, or just to get everybody on the same page, situation is still that yellow and white wave counts are possible, but I can tell you already, spoiler alert, the white wave count, which is this bullish one, the diagonal pattern in circle 1 to the upside, this has become more likely overnight because the price has finally managed to form a viable 5-wave move from the last swing low that was here on Friday, the 6th of September. So we actually indeed have a first 5-wave move from the September low. That is indeed an interesting and noteworthy development. While there wasn't really any progress yesterday, day before yesterday, we were squeezed between support and resistance. We now have a noteworthy development. So the bulls have pushed further higher, but we're going to take a look at that on the 1-hour time frame. This is important, however, because it would it shifts probabilities back towards the white count, and the market indeed made use of the upper support area here between 51,940 and 55,640. Now, before you all get too excited, this is only the very first 5-wave move to the upside. We haven't even got a top in place. We haven't even held a higher low in the next support, in the next pullback, because that's important. The bulls now need to hold a higher low in the next pullback. So it is still, in my view, a very, very fragile structure, especially on the micro level. But I have added the next micro support area on the shorter time frames, and we can take a look at that together. But just to highlight here, yellow is still possible. Some people might ask, but how? You know, if Bitcoin has formed a 5-wave move up, how can the yellow count still be possible? It is certainly reduced in likelihood, but again, counting a 5-wave move up is to a degree subjective, and it is always only the very first level of confirmation in Elliott Wave. The next confirmation level is to hold a higher low in the pullback zone, which we can now define now that we have 5 waves up, but it's never a guarantee it will hold. It's still quite a small time frame, and the bulls still need to prove it, but it definitely has shifted probabilities. But that purely made the yellow count, in my view, the second most likely scenario. Okay, so I have other scenarios in mind now, but let's keep it simple. I mean, for example, a triangle or something, but it doesn't really look like a triangle. There are other counts I could use in case Bitcoin goes higher in a corrective fashion, but can't really continue to form 5 waves in white, but we're not there yet. So I don't want to overcomplicate it. At the moment, important is we reacted to support. The bulls seem to make a comeback. We have an initial 5-wave move up, and we can now watch for the next pullback to ideally hold a higher low. But yellow count cannot be fully dismissed. No. So let's go to the smaller time frame. Before we do that, quick reminder, you can let us know on Twitter, X, formerly Twitter, which crypto you want me to analyze on Twitter on the weekend. So I typically upload 1 or 2 videos on the weekend. So you can let us know here on Twitter what's the most challenging, which crypto should I analyze this week? That's the thing. You already provided some answers. You can provide some more. There will then be a poll based on this, and then you can vote later, and there will be 2 videos exclusively on Twitter. If you don't want to miss them, you can follow us here on Twitter. There's also a lot of other mindset content, trading content. Yesterday a DOT update was published. I think also a Bitcoin update. So yeah, by the way, here, that was interesting yesterday. Bitcoin reacted to support. Okay, the bulls turned up exactly where they needed to. Bitcoin was deep in support in a wave 4 yesterday, and I highlighted here. First of all, a break above 57,160 would be an indication that the bulls are trying to form wave 5. Well, that was certainly a good signal, and they need to start to turn up now to keep the white scenario alive, and they turned up exactly where they needed to and pushed now to this 200% extension at around 58,530. But let's go. But updates like these can be found on Twitter, so make sure you follow us there as well if you're interested in additional updates. Now this is the 1-hour chart, and this is now interesting because Here you can see those 5 waves. I deleted the previous support zone, we don't need it anymore. And the price pushed exactly to the next fib level at 58,540. It's now as simple as just watching for the signs of a first pullback. That B wave pullback would likely be an ABC structure. And please note, the move up is likely a large ABC structure anyway, because the entire move up from the August low is a diagonal at best. I could change my view about that. It doesn't matter at the moment whether I call this a B wave pullback or a wave 2. The support zone is the same, so we keep it simple, but at the moment that's my view, that the move up would be an ABC structure with a B wave pullback next. Support is now between 53,830 and 56,216. And what we often find is that a pullback of this degree would find support in the region of, in the neighborhood of, a previous wave 4 of one lesser degree. Now that's more often the case if the pullback was a wave 2, but it seems to be a B wave, so it might not be that relevant. But still pay attention here to the area around 55k. But key support is really important. I mean, there are 4 Fibonacci levels. I did read them out. Yeah, it's between the 38.2 and the 78.6 retracement. But the key level that really the bulls need to hold is 53,836. Now, ideally, we don't want the pullback go below that level. The problem is, and that makes it difficult, is that support here is weak. It's a weak support area because the pullback is likely a B wave. I will mention that in the next video as well, and I mention that later on Discord as well. It's whenever we're dealing with a B wave, you just have to be on the side of caution because B waves can easily overshoot, you know, and B wave pullback is typically, yeah, as I said, quite weak because they sometimes don't respect the fib levels so well. So we could, for example, easily see a B wave go slightly below support, and it would not necessarily reduce the likelihood of the pattern. That makes them a bit difficult. They're a bit chameleon-like, the B waves. Yeah? But that's so far at the moment what we need to watch for. The next resistance is at around 59,515, and there is a volume spike between the 200% and the 238% fib extension. We can add the VRVP briefly. You see it here. There is actually a volume spike. The point of control, the new point of control is around 59,180, 59,200. So the next movements will be key. Maybe Bitcoin will get rejected there. We'll have to see. I can tell you only that at the moment there is no sign of a top in place. So we are waiting for top signals now that 5 waves up have formed, but there's no sign of a top, so we can continue to extend. Important is now just to note that support is 53,830. And should Bitcoin push higher, I will adjust support with the price. That's the update about Bitcoin. Hope you liked the update. If you did, please hit the like button, leave a comment and subscribe. And if you really like the content, then please check out the channel membership. Also, make sure that you follow us on Instagram and Twitter for additional content. Thanks a lot for watching. Bye-bye.